Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right, baby. Welcome to the Gridiron. Give this video a thumbs up and maybe share this video. That would be absolutely freaking awesome. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live, or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, in the description box below, the very top link takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel, it would mean the absolute world to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And finally, little ways down in the description box, there's a link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,400 members in the group. It's growing daily. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, guys. Well, it's put up or shut up time. It's time. Time preview. Big game. I mean, obviously a big game for both. However, if the Eagles were to lose it, let's hope it would not be the end of the world for them. This is their first divisional game, right? They haven't played the Cowboys or the Commanders yet. And if they were to lose, they'd be 3-3. And I mean, it's gonna, as of right now, I mean, hey, 2 thumbs up the Commanders. Way to go! I didn't think they knew, like a new coach and all of that and everything. They brought in a bunch of new free agents and a rookie quarterback. To me, that's not like success overnight. Can it work out? Sure. I mean, brand new rookie quarterback, a bunch of new guys in there, and just, it's go win some football games. That's not always that easy. Well, so far, I mean, how they went, like, I think it was 2 games in a row without punting. It's like, really? Yeah, I mean, Giants defense is very good, hasn't stopped it. As of right now, you got to give the Commanders a lot of credit, right? But I don't know if they're going to be running away with the division. But anyway, getting back to the Eagles, right? So, I mean, if they were to lose, right, it would not be the end of the season for them. It's not the end of the season for the Giants because obviously if we were to go to 2-5, still got 10 games to go. But it's starting to get a little bit of a dire need. If you have visions of playoffs in your head, dancing in your head, right? The Giants go 2-5 and 0-3 in the division, and 0-1 against every team in the division. That's not very good. All right. So it's a very important game for the New York Football Giants. Especially because then you figure then we would have to go on the road in Philly, on the road in Dallas. So it is a big game. Big game. Of course, we have the return of Saquon. We'll go over some of his numbers. Obviously, he's done very, very well. If he stays healthy and he keeps doing what he's doing, hey, at $13 million, absolutely. Sign me up, baby. But, once again, they signed for like $13 million. This is his 7th season. He's, averaging out about 13, a little over 13 per season for 3 years. So that means in his 9th season, he's still going to be getting paid over $13 million. Now, once again, I mean, with the Giants, sometimes some of the action were freaky, but, he has a tendency to get injured. Right? I said, but I mean, for the Eagles, if he makes it through the whole season, keeps doing what he's doing behind that good offensive line, which did take a little bit of a hit, right, with Malata out. But they got 2 stud, and they took a little bit of a hit because they don't have their number 1 tight end in there. But they did get Lane Johnson back, who was out for concussion. They got Smith back, the receiver. They got Brown back, so they got the 2 wide receivers out there. Saquon is relatively healthy. Hurts, So I mean, they got their weapons. So it's going to be a tough task for the New York Football Giants on defense. But let's go over some of these numbers here we got. Let's just do a little preview of the game here. A little preview. It's going to shoot, the fans will be, the Eagle fans show up very well. They represent wherever they go. So there's going to be a lot of Eagle fans there. For sure. All right, where we go here. All right. Says next man up. This is from Giants.com. They got a nice little list here of some of the preview. Right. Obviously, we got Andrew Thomas went under the knife. Daboll says you can't replace the Thomas. It says Thomas being sidelined is a tough blow to the Giants' offensive line. The question is now, and Daboll knew. He knows. He's just, he ain't leading on or anything like that. He knows. I mean, when talking to the guys at, the press conference and all of that, like Friday, I said, oh, you're starting the left tackle. Yeah. We're gonna practice and we'll see. We'll talk about it. So he knows who's. But I mean, look, apparently just most of the guys on the inside and the reporters and all, it seems like they're going to try to start a Zudu there. Keep a Zudu there. Keep the 4, right, in their same spots. Put a Zudu over there instead of picking up a Luminor, putting him at left tackle, and then throwing Neal in there. So instead of upsetting the apple cart too much, right, we keep the Fab 4 there. And we'll just throw a Zudu in there. Hopefully he's gotten better since last year, because last year he was not very good. 2 years ago, he was not very good. Now, is it him? Is it coaching? Is it a combination of the both? I'm going to say a little combination of the both. I don't know what Bobby Johnson was teaching these guys. I don't know if he was teaching them line blocking or I don't know, mathematics. I don't know. I mean, you just how you can go like a whole season and teams would run stunts and twists, and we couldn't pick up any of them. It's just simply amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah, just I don't know. So anyway, so it looks like Zudu will be in there. So, but right, we got Motor should be back, right? We got Tracy, we got Gray. Let's hope he doesn't fumble the ball, right? Maybe it's just don't give it to him early, like the opening kickoff, right? Hey, let's run out. Let's fumble it. Let's give it to the other team. Hey, let's march all the way down the field. First drive of the game. I think it was first drive. All the way down the field. Now you give me the ball. Almost make it over the goal line. Pop it out in the end zone. Then run it back. Whee! Right. So maybe let's just bring him in like the third quarter, something like that. Right? Maybe let's try that. Maybe he just fumbles early. Right? Maybe he's got to get hit a few times and then he'll start securing the ball. Let's try that. But we got all running backs there. Daniel Jones is there. Tight ends are all there, right? Theo, Bellinger, Manhurts, right? Wide receivers are there. A bunch of them were on the injury report. Bryce Ford Wheaton still had the shoulder, right? Malik, came through with the concussion, but he has some an injury with his groin. He says he's had it at times in going back to college. So it's not something new for him. Coach Daboll said, I think he said it tightened up a little bit. Was it Thursday? Was it maybe Wednesday or Thursday? So a lot of our wide receivers are a little nicked up, but they'll all be there. So our offense, is good, okay, except for, of course, Andrew Thomas. Now the Eagles' defense, it's like an enigma. It's kind of like one week they kind of stink, and then the next week they're not too bad. So we'll have to wait and see. You want to say that, have the Giants, obviously try to establish the run, but you're getting Malik Neighbors back now. I mean, they don't have maybe the greatest secondary. Slay might be playing, but he's dealing with a little bit of an issue. So, I mean, we get Malik back, right? Let's see if we can take advantage of that secondary, right? But once again, it's a theory of relativity. Everything is relative. You get a passing game open up the passing game. Man, sometimes it just helps the running game. You get a good running game going, sometimes it helps open up the passing. Everything kind of goes hand in hand, right? So, what we got here? All-time series. Now, I'll tell you what, for the longest time, the Giants had the lead in this series, but let's see. Can I show this here? Pop this up. There we go. I think I can show this here. Let me see here. All right. Nope, not settings. Here we go. Share the screen. Let's see. Can I get it? Yep. There we go. Now, I mean, the pass, I counted it. It's not an easy thing for me to do. I think the last 33 games, including the playoffs, going back to the 2008 season, the Giants have won 7 times. I think we're 26-7 against the Eagles since the second game of 2008. So let's go back here. All right. Pop it up. Okay, here we go. So you go back here, right? It's the second game of 2008, not the first game. The Giants won the first game on November 9th, 36-31. Because let's not forget, I mean, the Giants just came off of a Super Bowl win, but I mean, the Eagles, don't forget, back then with Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb, they were perennial every year. Perennial good team. So then the second time we played the Eagles, they beat us 20-14. And then, of course, then, Plexico shoots himself in the leg accidentally. And, of course, then we wound up losing here in the playoffs 23-11. But you'll notice here, I mean, right? So if I can scoot it down here, right? So all the L's, all these red L's, those are losses for the Giants, all right? So after we beat them the first time in 2008, we lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We lost 6 games in a row. Then we finally won one in 2011. Then we lost a couple. Then we won one. Then we lost one, lost 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we won one. Right, and then we go here. I mean, it's been just atrocious. I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We lost 8 in a row. Then we won 2 in a row. Then we lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we won. Yeah, we won this one. Okay, so what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They've won 13 of the past 16 games. I mean, yeah. And of course, 13 of the past 16, but of course, we just won the last one, 27-10. So it was they won 13 of the last 15 just before, it's like they have had our number. I just remember growing up, I mean, the Giants always had the advantage over the Eagles, always. Even mid-70s to 81, second time we played them in 81, we finally snapped the streak. I think it was 11 games in a row we lost home, and the Giants still had an advantage over them. The Giants in the 60s were had a better team than they did. had a better team in the 50s, had a better team in the 30s, had a better team most of the 40s. 47, 48, and 49, the Eagles went to 3 straight championship games. They lost in 47. They won in 48 and 49. So 47, 8, and 9, the Eagles had a better team than the Giants. But I mean, for the Eagles started in 1933. So the 30s, the Giants were better. Most of the 40s, the Giants were better. Most of the 50s, the 60s, the Giants were better. So the Giants had a huge advantage in the amount of games that they won head to head. But once the 70s started rolling around, the Eagles just started chipping away at that. They said they won 11 games in a row. I think it was the second game of 75. The Giants won the first game in the vet at Philly. And from the second game of 75 to the second game, I think it was maybe or so it was 11 or 12 games in a row of 81. 76 and 7 and 8 and 9, 81. Maybe it was 12 games in a row. The Eagles won. Eagles won a bunch of times in the 80s, even though we won Super Bowls. They still beat us a bunch. It was a lot of nip and tuck in the 90s. The Eagles were a very good team, as we've seen lately, and even in the early 2000s, because the Eagles went to 4 straight championship games with Andy Reid and Don McNabb. So the Eagles have been chipping away at that lead, and now they have a lead now. They're winning, 90. The Eagles have won 90 times to 86 for the Giants, and there have been 2 ties. The one I know of is the final game at Yankee Stadium in 73. The Giants they tied 23-23. Last second field goal by Pete Gogol. He kicked it basically as time ran out. As this ball got snapped, I think the clock went down to 0, and I don't know if Snead was on the field holding the ball or not. I'm not sure. Whoever put the ball down, Gogol kicked the tying field goal. It was 23-23. So I do know that one tie. But as we get the injury report, so there's 6 guys who were reported to be out. So I'm only seeing 5 here now. But anyway, the Giants got 2 guys out. They got the Hammer. And Adoree Jackson is out with, he's got a neck injury. He had a calf, now he's got a neck injury. So, questionable. We got Belton with an illness, Burns with a groin, and Sexy Dexy with a hip. So we only got 5 guys. That's good. Now we're not sure with Belton, but Belton is, he's he's a backup guy, but he plays a lot on special teams too. So let's hope he's over the illness. Now, as I said, I don't know what the illness is. A couple of years ago, it used to be COVID. If it was COVID, it was like, he's got to, quarantine him and this, that. The guy was he'll be out a few days, this, that, and the other thing. So I don't know what it is. We're not sure. But Burnsy and Sexy Dex, Burnsy's got the groin and Sexy Dexy's got the hip. But both those guys, I'm playing. So you expect those guys to go. So that's a huge advantage. So the Giants pretty much have, if we look at the defense, right, we got Newman, right, and we got Pinnock. We got Andrew Phillips, we got Banks, we got Flott, right? We got Sexy Dexy, we got Burns, Ojulari, and Nacho, DJ Davidson. So we're pretty good there. Linebackers, right? We got McFadden, Isaiah Simmons, maybe. Now, he might be somebody to keep an eye on. Maybe if we're going to have somebody in there, maybe Spine Hurts, right? And of course, we got a carry case. So, we're not doing too bad. The thing is, they did elevate Tolman Fox off the practice squad, right? Because obviously, Kayvon's not going to be there. So we got Aziz and we got Burnsy, who's going to, when those guys need a little bit of a rest, who's going to go in there, right? But so they did elevate Tolman Fox from the practice squad. So, but I mean, other than that, we don't have Kayvon, okay, and we don't have Andrew Thomas. So we lost a couple heavy hitters, but for the most part, most of our guys are going to be ready to rock and roll. Same thing with the Eagles. They said they got like Goddard's out, Mulata's out. Byron Young with a hamstring, a defensive tackle, he's out. Slay is questionable with the knee, and Eli Ricks, cornerback, with the groin. So they got 2 cornerbacks who are a little nicked up. Even if they play, they still got some issues with them. So I mean, the Giants could, take advantage of that secondary. Let's see. So I talked about, I said the divisional matchup. I said that, the Eagles haven't played anybody yet in the division. The Giants lost a tough one to the Commanders. They could have won that one. Giants lost a tough one to the Cowboys. Not should have won that one. They could have won that one. Right? I mean, the Commanders was more of a coulda, shoulda won game. I mean, if the Giants actually had a field goal kicker, right, what a concept. Quite possibly would have won that game. Also, the drop pass by Malik Neighbors at the end down there, kind of, I think, hit him, like, I guess, in a bad spot. I guess it hit him in the hands. I guess, I don't know. You're not supposed to hit him in the hand. He dropped the ball. Would have kept the drive alive. But Neighbors obviously clears concussion protocol. Now, if you look at the replay of that was quite a shot he took. Not a shot, but landing took a shot. I mean, she was trying to corral that pass in. It was obviously out of bounds. He had a hard time but you look at it, his head hit. And he was talking, he said, I don't remember anything. He said, I remember Daniel Jones throwing the ball, but I don't remember nothing else after that. I think he said this is his first concussion ever. So he will be wearing, I think, a different helmet, if I remember, because he was talking to the reporters and everything like that. And I think he said something happened to that helmet. I've got bent or something or whatever. But I think he might be wearing a new style helmet, which might also supposed to help protect his head a little bit better too. So that's a plus, right? I don't know if he's going to be wearing one of those caps on or anything like that, but I do think he might be wearing a new style of helmet, which once again, help his noggin. Now, as I said, this is his first concussion. Obviously, you don't want ever anybody. I can't stand the Eagles. But I don't even want anybody on the Eagles to even get an ingrown toenail. Absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, this football stuff happens. But at least with Malik, this is his first concussion. Okay, it's not like he's had a long history of them or anything like that. So, he's got obviously stuff like that. I mean, the problem with Malik is that he's so competitive. You know what I mean? It's just it's inside of him. He hates to lose more than he wants to win, and that's what Daboll wants that. But, there's ways, obviously, of letting the competitive fire out of you, but also trying to be safe about it too. Now, hopefully, see, the thing is like that with a ball like that, and you leave your feet, or you got your feet, you're trying to keep maybe your feet in balance, and you're extending your arms and all that. I mean, you're trying to catch the ball and you're going down like a tree, What's stopping you? You're trying to catch especially if you're trying to corral it while you're almost on the ground. It's almost impossible to try to grab it, like maybe one arm, pull one arm in and hold yourself. I mean, but he has to be a little more careful going forward, because that's something you don't want to have an issue with going forward. But thank goodness he'll be back, because the guy's special. You got it. So far, the Giants really have done a very good job with this draft. Very good job. I mean, Tracy, I'm not saying the guy's Walter Payton. I'm not saying he's Saquon Barkley. But for a 5th-round pick, guy looks pretty darn good. I mean, I would not. I mean, especially, I don't know what we plan on doing with Eric Gray. Yeah, I mean, if the guy can't hold on to a football, I mean, I don't know, right? I wouldn't be bummed out if we drafted a running back, because I mean, as we saw with Gray, you can get a decent running back in one of the later rounds, right? But I mean, with Tracy, looks pretty good. Theo, I mean, he hasn't set the world on fire yet, but being an athletic freak that he is, he works on his game. He doesn't have to turn into a Mark Bavard, not like that. But can you turn into he's a 4th-round pick, There's not, we're not asking them to be a Hall of Famer. Can you turn into a decent tight end? Right? I would like to see the Giants, like maybe, it's going to be tough, right? What are we doing with Daniel Jones? Right? Are we getting rid of him? Well, then we got to replace him. Is his replacement on the roster? Is Drew Lock or Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan? Is he Daniel Jones? Is he Daniel Jones's replacement? So if not, where are we getting a replacement? Are we getting early in the draft, round 1? Is there, I don't know. Is there a free agent we can? I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. But I would like to see the Giants get. We need another weapon. Wouldn't be bad if we got another. Maybe like another receiving weapon. Like maybe like we were supposed to have Waller. Right? I think we had Waller for, was it 3 years? I think so. This would have been a second year, but it is what it is. But speaking of receiving tight ends doing very well. Speaking of rookie receiving tight ends who are doing very well, we're going to talk about one toward the end of our program here. But I like to see, really like this. It's the thing. It's not. Well, we lost Malik Neighbors. Well, there goes the offense. It was almost kind of like with Saquon. We had wide receivers, but there was no wide receiver we had who was keeping any defensive coordinator up at nighttime. They're sleeping just like a baby. Let me tell you what. Slayton, Hyatt, whoever you want, Hodgins, Wan'Dale Robinson, there's nobody keeping any defensive coordinators up. When we had Saquon there, he's a threat. He's a way, right? But when Saquon gets hurt, Saquon, there goes their weapon, right? You want to have multiple. You want to have Malik and at least somebody else, right? So I would love if we got another weapon next year. But, we'll have to wait and see what are we going to do with Daniel Jones. But anyway, let's put a little cart before the horse. Another thing, Tracy taking advantage of his opportunity is going to be very interesting to see. Let's see, 24-year-old has proven to be difficult to bring down. He has forced 6 missed tackles over the last 2 games, and while catching 11 of his 13 targets thrown his way. So, you're getting the best of both worlds with him. You're getting somebody who can do a decent job at running the ball, make guys miss, and, of course, with his receiving background, catch passes. Now, it was the one thing when one of his coaches, I don't know if it was head coach or if it was his wide receiver coach or exactly what it was, but in college said, if you continue to try to be a wide receiver, you're not going to be very much wanted or very valuable, I guess, in the draft if you try to become a wide receiver, because there's so many other guys that are probably so much better than you are. However, if you become a running back, you become a little bit more valuable. And, he's got the best of both worlds. So he could line up outside and, he can obviously do his thing in the backfield. So, he's very good pickup, especially for the 5th round. Very good pickup. Says here the defense is off to a hot start. Then we're going to talk about the defense in just a little bit here. One thing is they're talking about here is obviously you got to keep I'm going to go over the defense in just a moment here, but they're talking about obviously keeping Saquon under wraps, which would wind up being huge. They're talking about here scouting the rest of the Eagles. It's been an up and down start for the Eagles, who've been alternating between wins and losses since their opening season victory over the Packers. Right? They beat the Packers. They lost to the Falcons. They beat the Saints. They got killed by the Bucs. Then they beat the Browns. So 1-1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, win. So we keep going by that way, right? They're due for a loss. Sign me up for that. Let's see. After scoring 34 points in week 1, Philadelphia has failed to top 21 points in each of the last 4 games. And of course, they also had a week 5 bye. So The Eagles offense enters the matchup ranking 18th in points scored, but 10th in yards gained. So they move the ball, but they have not been able to punch it in. They're tied. I think their offense is tied, I think, with the Giants. I think red zone efficiency. I think they're both 44%, I think it is, as far as I think scoring touchdowns in the red zone. It's not very good. Not very good at all. Hurts has completed 67.5% of his passes, has 1,194 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. They've turned the ball over, too. That would be huge for the Giants. He has a passer rating of 92.2. He's also fumbled the ball 5 times through 5 games. Since the start of 2023, Hurts leads the NFL with 27 turnovers, 19 interceptions, and lost 8 fumbles. Let's see. And, of course, they talk about after both players missed time earlier this season, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both returned for the team's Week 6 victory over the Browns. Brown led the team with 6 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown, while Smith caught 3 passes for 64 yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert left the game early due to a hamstring injury and has been ruled out for this week's game here. Let's see. The Eagles will be without starting tackle John Mailata. He expects him to be out for at least a couple of weeks with his hamstring. Now, we talk about here the Eagles with their defense. Moving over to the defense. The Eagles' defense currently ranks 14th in points and 20th in yards allowed. Similar to the Giants, their unit has performed well in the defense, well in the red zone, allowing a touchdown on just 7 of 17 trips inside the 20-yard line. So once it gets tight in there, the Eagles start buckling down and do a very good job, and which happens also to be one of the Giants' problems. So the Eagles' defense elevates what's in the red zone, and the Giants' offense kind of, I guess, deflates what's in the red zone. So Giants could have a hard time scoring in the red zone. It's a 41.2% red zone. Their defense ranks 6th in the NFL in the red zone. Philadelphia's 11 sacks. They were getting 11 sacks a game a couple of years ago when they have like 852 sacks that one year. Well, they've really come down a lot. There are 11 sacks, currently ranks tied for 24th most. So, while their 2 turnovers force match the Raiders for the fewest in the league. So they don't get many sacks. Let's hope they keep that up. And they don't get many turnovers. Let's hope they keep that up too. Both of the Eagles' turnovers have come in the form of Reed Blankenship's interceptions. Meanwhile, Zach Baun and outside linebacker Josh Sweat are tied for the team lead with 2 sacks apiece. Quinion Mitchell leads the team with 6 passes defensed. Fellow rookie defensive back Cooper DeJean started the first game for the Eagles this past Sunday and notched 6 total tackles. Philadelphia also boasts a talented group of defensive tackles with Carter and Jordan Davis and Milton Williams, who have 8 combined for 8 tackles for loss this year. So, if they're can be their defensive tackles can be a load. Certainly can be a load without question.